Hey, this video is to showcase some of the Previs tools that I developed in Unreal Engine. These tools were written for an animated film project that was unfortunately canceled, but I did enjoy making these tools, and now I get to share them. These tools were created using a combination of Python and editor utility widgets. The UIs were made in the editor, with Python functions to populate the UI data, and Python functions to perform all of the pipeline operations on button presses. The first tool here is the scene browser for Previs, the Action Manager. This tool is used to browse the available Previs actions and takes, which are the Previs scenes. At the top, we have the sequence information. This is a dev type sequence named Kortbus, and in this sequence, I have 3 actions available. These are my unique Previs scenes. I have one action which is kind of arbitrary, one for a cafe intro, and one for a cave scene. Next, we have our take column, which are the iterations for each action scene. While these takes are both part of the cave scene, the first take was where the environment setup took place, which honestly was just copying something Epic provided. The second take is where I took a first pass on the cameras within that scene. On the right, we have the info panel for our current action take, A3T2, along with its more user-friendly display name. Users are able to edit the take's name and notes to provide more context on their current work, keeping their future selves and others more informed if they so desire. We can also select the camera in this dropdown, which will set the active camera and sequencer when we open our take. This provides a convenient option to open to a specific camera if we know the one we want to work on. We also have other actions available here as well, such as going to the takes folders in the content browser. This is a quality of life feature. Users can use the Action Manager to find the content browser folder of a certain take instead of having to dig through all of those folders by hand themselves. We can also duplicate our take, copying everything from take 2 to take 3 as an example, which I'll show later. I'm going to go ahead and open the scene, which will open to camera 2 as we'll be able to see in the UI. I'm still debating the scene structure, but this top level sequence is the camera track, which is responsible for the frame range used for this specific camera when we render it. In the middle layer is the action take, which is shared amongst all of the cameras. This is where we would want to do all of our character work or anything else we want to do for this specific take. Lastly, in this third layer are all of the cameras that we are working with. It's ideal to do the camera work in this location so that we can easily compare all of the cameras and keep them separate from everything else going on in the scene. In terms of functionality, we have a drop-down menu to switch between cameras, so if I select camera 5 in here, it will update the top level sequence, and now the menu will show that cam 5 is indeed active. This next dropdown offers a few actions and tool shortcuts we can use. We can make a new camera, or we could duplicate the currently active one. There is also tools for managing the frame ranges of all of our cameras in one UI, as well as a render tool for all of the cameras in the current take. There's also a shortcut to the Action Manager. I'll go ahead and duplicate this current camera to a new camera, Cam 6. It runs pretty fast, and now we have Cam 6 in our take. If we go into the cameras layer, we can see that the keys from Cam 6 should match Cam 5, which is what it was copied from. Now that we have Cam 6, I'll go ahead and open the camera setter to change some frame ranges. You can do this in the sequencer. This UI is really just offer a quick way to change multiple cameras, or at least be aware of other cameras as you're working with this. If I change camera 6 to be from frames 100 to 125, we do get this little reset button on the right, so we can undo our changes if we need to, and this also helps us stay aware of what values we've changed in the UI. Once I save my changes, it will update all of the cameras that were changed, and those will be live. Next, we can make some renders with the Previs Render tool in the dropdown. This is a very similar UI. We can choose which cameras we want to render or not, and it will also let us know the frame ranges of each camera. In this case, I just wanted to render camera 6, so we'll go ahead and submit it real quick. This renderer uses a global Previs config that's located in the project. It's intended for a quick, give me a Previs render. And ideally, it's something that only the Previs Sup or some lead artist would be the one managing this config. Once it's done, it will open the movie for us so we can play through that beautiful render. Outside of the render, other things we can do in the Action Manager is duplicating up to the next take. Now that we have a render we're happy with, we can go from take 2 to take 3, and it will copy everything that needs to be copied into the new take for us. If I go to the content browser, we can see that there are new levels and level sequences. Nothing is attached to the previous take anymore. Now that we're in take 3, we might decide that we want this floating guy to be tiny instead. This is going to be unique to take 3, so if we save this and go back to take 2, he'll still be just as big as he was before. Nothing is going to change to take 2 that I do in take 3, and vice versa. So yeah, thanks for watching. I believe that's most of it. These were some of the animated film tools that I developed in Unreal Engine for an animated movie.